This person says, I would love to know how we can work with the mantis beings to aid and assist us at this time along our path to opening up new realities. Also, what is their connection to our praying mantis insects?
We will talk about the mantis beings at another time. Right now, it is premature.
Okay. You've explained that open contact is not just about contact with you humans, but also contact with all life on Earth. Are there any species on Earth besides humans which you are particularly interested in contacting, which humans are not aware of?
It's not that there are species you are unaware of that we will be in contact with. It's just that because of their nature, there has already been telepathic contact with beings such as dolphins, whales, other cetaceans, with other beings on your planets that you would recognize as animals, and even with the idea of some of your trees and the elementals of your world as well. So you may not know about all the elementals, and we will be having greater contact with them as well. But we have already initiated many telepathic contacts with the elementals of your world already.
This person has a question about, I'm going to try and sum it up. She has a 22-month-old son, and she watches your transmissions on a big screen TV, and her son usually plays in the background. But she's been noticing that every time Daryl starts to get into his channeling state, her son either looks away, looks down, or goes and hides. And then as soon as Bashar comes out, the son goes and plays again as usual. She wants to know what is happening here. Why is he doing this?
He is reacting to the transition from one state to another, from a state that he is getting used to as the so-called day-to-day normal vibrational state of your reality, and therefore is open to the idea of the vibrational state of our reality. But the transition is challenging for him between the two because it reminds him of the connections to spirit and in some way takes him away from what he's needing to learn by anchoring into your physical reality. The transitional state makes him feel like he is disconnecting from physical reality, and therefore he avoids it because his job, his task, his challenge as chosen is to make sure he stays connected to the idea of the physical reality he has chosen to experience. So it's just the transition that challenges him.
And is this something that very young children, so they're more sensitive to these energies? And
yes, of course. Yes, of course. Because again, they are still highly connected to spirit consciously.
Mm-hmm. What is the percentage at for open contact in the current window or for the mid 2026, 2027 range?
The event that we have discussed that may occur in high probability, over 90% at the end of 26, the beginning of 27, is not literally open contact. Please don't misunderstand. It is an event that will lead to open contact. It is not open contact itself, but it is something that can cause a great shift in your consciousness, in your awareness of the possibility of open contact, but it is not open contact itself.
Why do we often avoid pain when seeking clarity and change? Considering daily aspirin use, which can mask pain but not address the underlying issues, reveals a paradox. Why do we choose the human experience, seemingly filled with pain, compared to integrating alien or universal aspects?
Remember that pain is the result of resistance to the natural self. While it's all well and good sometimes to alleviate pain with the methods that you have in your medicines and healing arts, it is very important to understand the underlying causes of it, because that's part of the challenge you have come to face, is how can you transform the idea of resistance to your true self in a way that will allow you to go beyond the idea of experiencing pain, but doing it by understanding the issues that challenge you so that your soul can grow and discover something new. So it's about facing those challenges and finding out where the pain comes from, why you are resisting your true self, what belief systems you are holding on to that are out of alignment with who you are, rather than just numbing the pain so you don't have to think about those things. That's just avoidance.
Mhm. And can you talk about trauma and trauma responses? This person says that my nervous system automatically goes into fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode when I get triggered. I have carried pain and emotional issues in my body since childhood.
You have not carried them since childhood. You are recreating them every moment because you have a belief system that says you have a reason to do so that you believe benefits you. So again, this goes to the motivational mechanism. You have to discover why you would believe that you need to constantly recreate these things and why you are afraid, more afraid of the alternative rather than letting them go. This is a very deep and complex subject. In this format, in this forum, we do not have time to deeply address all of these issues since we are not actually interacting with this person directly. But basically, that's it. You're not carrying anything from childhood. You are recreating things every single moment in the present because you believe it's necessary for you to do so to avoid what your belief system says would be even a more painful alternative. So you have to discover why you believe letting go of those things would be worse than simply moving forward in the direction of your truth.
How can I stay connected with my son if I shift to a parallel earth? I'm focused on raising my vibration, but leaving him behind worries me. He's been manipulated by his father for nearly 2 years, and he's not in a high vibration. If he doesn't shift, how can I communicate with him? As a mother, how can I support him in this human experience if we can't interact due to different vibrations?
Again, remember that everyone has their path. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. Just maintain an unconditional love for this being. Be there for him if and when he decides to reach out or change. Allow him his path. That's all you can do right now. Again, this is a very deep and complex subject that may require more direct communication with this person. But the idea is you need to support with unconditional love whatever path the soul has chosen and whatever challenges that soul has chosen to experience in their lives, and be an open and receiving presence in his life that is there for him if and when he should decide to change and reach out to you, so that he knows he can do that. Just let him know he can do that, but don't insist that he must.
Thank you. I recently heard your transmission about our 7 needs: air, water, sleep, food, shelter, connection, and self-expression. I spend so much time and energy making sure me and my family have the first 5 needs met. It feels like I have nothing left to dedicate to connection and self-expression, which I long for. How can I be more efficient with the first 5 in order to have space to focus on the last 2? Is it just a frame of mind shift? Can you please give me some guidance?
Yes, it is a big frame of mind shift. In other words, you need to open up your creative imagination and figure out how to do the first 5 in a way that is more in alignment with your passion, rather than going about doing them in the way that your society has told them is the only way that they can be done. So you need to open up your creativity and find the way that works for you to do them, so that the way you do them becomes more effortless, more efficient, more streamlined, more synchronistic. That will allow you the opportunity to allow you to attract all 7 in the way that is the path of least resistance for you. Because again, if you're following the formula, all these things, all these needs will fit into the way in which you do things in life that is more representative of the way that works for you, rather than attempting to do them in the way your society has taught you are the only way to do them.
Thank you. We have a lot of love questions. Can a romantic love relationship and personal freedom coexist with each other when a person is in an established romantic love relationship in which both acknowledge each other to be their lover? I mean, boyfriend, girlfriend.
Well, it depends on what you mean by quote unquote personal freedom. Because the idea is that if you really are reflecting to each other what you need to know, you are being honest with yourself about what kind of relationship works for you, then freedom in that relationship is a given, depending on what you are defining freedom to be. But the freedom to be yourself, your true self, begins with an honest expression of who you really are and what relationships are actually correct for you. Because if you're going into a relationship without having communicated what is truly representative of what you prefer, then you may be giving a false impression to the other person as to who you are and what kind of a relationship really works for you. So if you go in as your true, honest self, you will have all the freedom you need to be who you truly are, whatever that means, in terms of being in alignment with your truth, being in alignment with your passion, and being in alignment with the unconditional love you are expressing to the other person or people in the relationships, to allow them to discover more about who they are as they do the same for you. So look to your definition of what personal freedom means and know that when you are being your true self, freedom in a relationship is part and parcel. Because why would a relationship that is true, that is truly representative of who you are, curtail your freedoms, the freedoms that are important to you to be yourself in any way, shape, or form? That would make no sense. But you have to be honest about who you are and what kind of relationships are actually relevant for the true you.
A couple questions about twin flames. What is the purpose of the twin flame, and how can a person recognize that connection? And how can we foster the twin flame connection to come together in this dimension?
There can be many meanings to this idea. Now, it can be representative of a very strong agreement that two souls may have made to interact with each other in a particular way that truly reinforces one another's ability to become their true selves. Can be a very deep and abiding love experience. But the idea of the twin flame has been misunderstood by many people on your planet in the idea that they must search for this. All you have to do is allow every relationship in your life to be as important as any other relationship, because everyone that is in your life is there for a reason and is giving you the opportunity to learn what you need to learn or to be of service to them in ways that will help them. And in that sense, you're all twin flames for each other, because they're all equally important, even though they may not necessarily be expressed in the same way. So we would let go and encourage you to let go of the classic definition of seeking out your twin flame and just move forward in the formula and attract what you need at any given moment that will serve you best.
If we transition to a parallel Earth that is a higher vibration than our current Earth, do you ever fall back to the initial version of Earth? If so, what reasons would that occur? For what reason?
Watch your definitions, because you don't fall back. You choose to lower your vibration. You choose to navigate to a version of Earth of a lower frequency. You don't fall back as if you have no control over this. So look to your definitions.
You said that we've already passed the point where there's no undoing climate change. Why is that? What happens to us from shifting to what keeps us from shifting to a parallel reality significantly different enough that it all seems to balance itself out? And maybe similarly, Is this the same reason that we can't just navigate to a parallel reality where someone who seems to have died is back and present again with us physically?
Climate change is a natural cycle on your planet that has, to some degree, been exacerbated by human technology and sped up. What you're experiencing now, if it wasn't for the pollution on your planet in a variety of forms, probably would not have been experienced for another century or two. But it is a natural cycle. And you knew that coming in when you chose to incarnate. So it's part of the challenges you are facing that spur you to create things that can mitigate the idea of certain climate change discomforts and challenges for your society, to learn to adapt to these things in ways that will allow you to grow intellectually and on a soul and spiritual level. The idea is that you have agreed to face certain challenges that help you grow, and certain things are simply not relevant for those challenges. So you will not necessarily automatically resurrect people in a new reality that have died because of the effect that their death has upon your soul's growth, in your ability to stretch yourself and reach out to them in spirit, as opposed to simply continuing to have them around physically. The result of agreements you have made with all of these different beings are the results of the challenges that you face that will help your soul to grow in certain ways that you agreed to. And so you will not violate those changes. You will not violate those challenges.
I know that some children remember having chosen their parents. Do all of us choose our parents?
Yes,
Hmm.
every single one of you, for a variety of reasons. You may not think so, but you do. It doesn't mean that the reasons are the same for everyone. Sometimes you may choose parents you have absolutely nothing in common with, but because of the situations that you will face in that particular family, it may actually catapult you in the direction that you know you need to go, just because of those circumstances. So you choose them for a variety of reasons. It doesn't mean that you will necessarily be vibrationally compatible with who your parents are.
Mm-hmm. When following my highest excitement, my physical mind starts to come up. My physical mind starts to come up and wants control. It's from a fear-based belief that that it needs control for survival. Can you give a few suggestions how to relax the physical mind to surrender to the control of the higher mind?
Have a conversation with it. Allow yourself to assure the physical mind that it is absolutely valuable and absolutely necessary for you to have the experience you are having of physical reality, that it has a job to do and it's doing it brilliantly and doing it well. And the idea of connecting to the higher mind is not something that supersedes the physical mind. It is something that allows the physical mind to have a willing companion in life that it can work with, and that the control is shared in the sense of the physical mind understanding that the higher mind only has its best interests at heart, and therefore can relax the idea of its grip on needing certain kinds of control that are really not about control at all, but simply representative of a fear of being out of control. It needs to be told and needs to understand that the higher mind is presenting the physical mind through the energy of passion what it can experience as control automatically and easily, rather than having to work so hard at it. So you need to have this conversation with your physical mind that the higher mind is giving the physical mind an opportunity to experience what true control really is all about. And true control doesn't necessarily feel like an expenditure of effort. It feels like things are flowing very easily and fluidly, and the physical mind can relax into that flow and know that it is, in fact, experiencing the control that is built in to your being, to your soul.
Thank you. This person says, I'm new here. I just did the sacred circuit meditation today, and I started crying. My head started moving in the infinity shape and sometimes like a spiral snake. Is that evidence of contact with you? Is there anything more you would like to add to this?
No, it is evidence of contact with higher frequency energies that are now coursing through your nervous system as your nervous system attempts to expand to get used to it.
Thank you. As a Jewish woman, I'm unable to understand the reason for the constant hate and unbelievable anti-Semitism that is erupting around our world. Can you please explain to me why the Jewish people are singled out throughout history, and why have other nations and people continued to call for our extermination to this day? What am I not seeing or understanding? What is the source of such hate and false narratives? From my perspective, the Jewish people enhanced the world, developed, contributed, created, etc. Why is the world so fixated on a group of people that only has 15.5 million in number? Who are the Jewish people from your perspective?
All right, now this is a deep subject, so we will take our time with this. You're not the only group, of course, that has experienced persecution. That's number one. But the reasons for it in your particular culture are generally as follows, if you can follow along with this and understand what we are saying. Long ago, as we have discussed, there was a group of extraterrestrials that you refer to as the Anu, or the Anunnaki, that inserted their genetic material into the early hominid species you know as Homo erectus and Neanderthals and so on and so forth to create Homo sapiens. The bloodlines of those extraterrestrials are sometimes stronger in certain groups than others, where they may not have been quite as diluted. The Jewish people in general carry some of the stronger bloodlines all the way back to the idea of the Anunnaki. Now, those that are out of touch, those that are not consciously aware of all of this going on, still have a subconscious or an unconscious recognition of the vibration of that bloodline in the Jewish people. And they recognize it in a way that is based on a negative connotation, that they were manipulated and controlled by the idea of that ancient extraterrestrial race in creating Homo sapiens as a workforce to help them do certain things. And so, in a sense, it can be experienced by certain people in a fearful way as slavery. Therefore, unconsciously and subconsciously, by feeling the vibration of that bloodline in the Jewish people that has been preserved over time by certain events, such as wandering in the desert for 40 years and isolating them from the rest of society for the span of time that represents a transformation in human culture, that remained the bloodline to be relatively clean and clear, genetically speaking, then they pick up on that vibration that you are still very close to the vibration of the Anunnaki who suppressed them and controlled them. And they have an unconscious resentment to that and react to that and have a fear about the idea that they're going to be controlled again in the same way. So it's a very ancient thing that exists within the survival mechanisms of human beings in their limbic system that picks up on that vibration of the ancient extraterrestrial genes that exist within that culture that they are very, very afraid of and haven't come to terms with yet consciously in your society. We hope you understand this explanation. Of course, there is a lot more detail to it, but we do not have time in this transmission to go that deeply into it. So we will trust that this will suffice for now.
Thank you. Wow. The title.
This is approaching the end of the questions for this particular transmission. Therefore, we will at this time suggest that you now allow yourselves to end the questions and move forward with the idea of the remainder of this transmission, and balance and center yourselves in the understanding of the steps we are now delivering to all of you that can if you so desire, to participate in them, help refine your vibrations specifically and tune your vibrations specifically to the vibration of the interstellar alliance and open contact. So, open yourselves up and breathe at this time.